Yet another Democrat clown show. They won't stop. Good, keep it up. City councilors refuse to recite the Pledge of Allegiance. You know, I pledge allegiance, etc. And you will not believe what we found in a California Navy recruiting office. That's coming up. Welcome to the Sheldon Show. That would be me. Thank you for being here. Ah, man, it's Wednesday, halfway through the week. Hump Day just beginning. We are live on X and on Rumble, and we invite you to join up on our Locals channel. That's on Rumble, it's the red button down there that says join. And on X, if you pull down the show notes, you'll see at the top there's a place you can go to the link that'll get you to Locals. Locals is a paid subscription, but it's cheap. It's like $5 a month. Or you can give us a one-time donation, $20, $50, $100 if you're feeling really generous or more. And it all goes directly to support this show, and we really do appreciate you being there. And what you'll find there for your subscription is a new little segment called The After Hours, where we kind of loosen up a bit, bring you the stories either that we're going to work on or we're working on, or we just haven't put them on the show yet, the main show, because there's too many theories. So anyway, that and more, it's all there on, we get a little loosen the tie and get things going there on the After Hours. It's on our Locals channel. Be sure and join up. Man, I'm telling you, weirdest thing happened. I woke up, and then I was very tired. I went back to sleep. This is like 6 in the morning. Next thing I know, it's 2 hours later. It's like, are you kidding me? So I'm rushing around going crazy, but insane. Good morning, Danny. Good morning, Marilyn. Question, I see a lot of comments from people I grew up with now that ICE is all over Aurora. Do illegals get due process? Some say yes, some say no, because they're not citizens. That is a great question, and honestly, I have no idea. I will find out and let you know, but I don't know. I assume for the deportation part, they likely get some sort of due process, but I don't know, and great question. I'll find out. I'm not very educated on that either. Marilyn says, I believe they do, but like you, I'm no authority. Well, I'm no authority either, but I know how to dig, so I'll find out. You know what, as a matter of fact, since you brought it up, let's put this into Grok. And so, by the way, if you're using AI, I highly, highly, highly recommend Grok. I've tried ChatGPT, some of the other ones, but Grok is amazing. Absolutely incredible. I use it all the time. All right, from the Heritage Foundation, due process, what they are and are not entitled to on immigration proceedings. These cases are civil rather than criminal proceedings, and aliens do have the limited due process rights as defined by Congress and Supreme Court. The rights differ depending upon whether the aliens are trying to enter the country or if they're already here, legally or illegally, as well as their visa and other status. Federal immigration status bar aliens from asserting certain claims in federal courts, prohibit any federal court from reviewing specified federal government actions like the Attorney General's enforcement of deportation orders, and limit which federal courts have jurisdiction over particular alien claims. Federal courts assuming jurisdiction over such banned, prohibited, and limited claims are violating federal law and the Supreme Court, and if necessary, should tell them so. So yes, the answer is yes and no. To a limited degree, illegal aliens do have certain process rights because these are civil cases not criminal cases. So there you go. That's the answer. Thank you. Great question to kick us off here. All right. An absolute clown show. Democrats try to storm Mike Johnson's office and in the process assault a police officer. Attempted to storm Speaker Mike Johnson's house, of the House office on Tuesday evening, last night, with one representative accosting a police officer who actually stepped in to stop them. Mostly female members marched through the halls of the Capitol building, holding signs wearing "Swear her in," chanting the same phrase, the reference to Adelita Grijalva, who recently won a special election in Arizona. Of course, in Arizona, they're all special elections because they're all fixed. There is no such thing as a legit election in Arizona. You can cash that check. Johnson, understandably, was refusing to move forward with this confirmation as long as the Democrats continue to keep the government shut down. Sorry, guys, you shut it down. You deal with it. And on that front, an 8th attempt to pass a Republican-backed clean continuing resolution failed in the Senate just hours before this clown show began. Democrats gathered the cameras because, of course, this is nothing but a very badly planned, lame photo op. That's why they do these things. And tried to force their way into Johnson's office anyway, apparently not really seeing the irony in their demand. There is video of this shit show. And again, all done just for the cameras. Okay, enough of the post-menstrual drama. Swear her in. In the second video, which I'm going to play for you in a second, you can see Representative Nanette Berrigan, Democrat from California, screaming in the face of a USCP officer, just attempting to do his job. That's all he was up to. And contrary to the spoiled brat syndrome that perpetually infects this Democratic caucus, the Democrat caucus, I should say, they do not have the right to barge into Johnson's office without permission. Surprise! In fact, I've been assured that doing such a thing amounts to a dangerous insurrection. At the very least, it's pretty scummy to lash out like that when these officers were not even getting their paychecks because the Democrats have shut the government down. Faham? Understand? Comprende? Now, making this even more moronic, if that's possible, Johnson wasn't even there. He wasn't in his office. Instead, the speaker was at a ceremony posthumously honoring Charlie Kirk, which we will cover next. Whoever organized this thing, and you can see a Representative Pramila Jayapal on the front of the line, managed to screw up her own stunt. Okay, where's that second? Here it goes. Here is the second video. Watch this. Amazing. Can't help but wonder if they actually understand exactly how ridiculous that they look. these screeching AWFLs who make up so much of the Democratic caucus. Normal Americans dealing with a whole bunch of problems, the stuff you and I deal with every single day. And these entitled clowns actually staging a photo op with all the appeal of a colonoscopy, frankly. If they want Girjalva sworn in, they can also stop playing games and they can reopen the government. Wouldn't that be nice? It's just that simple. Until then, they don't get to be immune from the consequences of their own actions. Assaulting a police officer is a very serious crime. Apparently, both of our feeds, by the way, are suffering from a little buffering problem. It looks okay on our side. Don't know why. But, yeah, for some reason, out there in the metaverse, whatever it's called, there is a bit of a buffering issue. So, don't know why, but I'm sorry about that. Should be okay. Should be okay. If it's not, try resetting, or I don't know. Remember with the old days, TV used to screw up. You'd go to the back and you'd smack it, and it'd go bzzz, and then it would come in. I don't think we can do that with our cell phones and laptops. All right. Such a great story, and on the other hand, incredibly sad because it had to be given this way. However, Trump sent an incredible message to Charlie Kirk by engraving the back of the Medal of Freedom, which has never been done before. An engraving on the back of the Medal of Freedom that included his name and a cross. During a ceremony yesterday at the White House, the Rose Garden, first time that's been used after its renovation, Trump posthumously awarded Kirk the nation's highest civilian honor when he presented the Presidential Medal of Freedom to Erica Kirk, who would have turned 32 yesterday if he hadn't been killed by an assassin on the campus of Utah Valley University September 10th. Speaking later to Fox News' Jesse Waters about the ceremony, Benny Johnson, a good friend of the late founder of Turning Point USA, told the host that Trump clearly understands the power that Charlie Kirk brought to the advancement of the kingdom of Christ. Because Erica Kirk showed me something remarkable at the White House just before coming over here to do your show. And let's listen to that straight off the tape.
I don't forgive my enemies. And he's gone through the entire Middle East carpet bombing Hillary every step of the way. It's been remarkable. However, Donald Trump clearly understands Christendom and understands Christian doctrine and the power that Charlie Kirk brought to the advancement of the kingdom of Christ, because Erica Kirk showed me something remarkable at the White House right before coming over here to do your show, Jesse. If you don't mind, I'd like to share it with your audience. Sure. She opened up the Medal of Freedom, as you can see there, that very few Americans get. There have only been a few hundred given out, the highest civilian honor. And then she turned it around back. And what you can see here on the back is the first Christian cross, the first crucifix ever engraved onto a Medal of Freedom given by the president. This is a historic moment. It's the first time that religious iconography has ever made it onto this award. And it is done in honor of Charlie Kirk. And what Erica told me, Jesse, was that this is for the advancement of Charlie Kirk and his work for the kingdom of Christ. And the president understood that so profoundly that he gave him this great honor.
What a...
Wow. Amazing story. And such an incredible honor posthumously to Charlie Kirk. Wow. All right. From the good to the bad evils of this ridiculous government, at least the one we had to deal with in the past. From Just the News, John Solomon's site, great site for source material. Congress collected 30 million lines of phone data in their probe in Trump's January 6th campaign. Civil liberties? Maybe, maybe not. Congressional investigators collected a stunning 30 million lines of phone data, mapping contacts between conservatives and the Trump White House, all in the name of investigating the January 6th Capitol breach. Massive dragnet resulted in civil liberties concerns about the lack of limits on the ability of lawmakers to snoop on our private phone calls, you and I. Oh yeah, this huge collection of phone records revealed by the FBI, led by Chris Wray back in 2023. By former Representative Adam Kinzinger, a GOP member on the Democrat-run House January 6 Select Committee. The cash was offered to the Bureau on the eve of the 2024 presidential elections as evidence without requiring a warrant, according to the FBI document memorializing the offer that was reviewed by Just the News. Again, that's the news site for John Solomon. That memo says Kinzinger told the FBI the phone data had been collected by then former Rep. Denver Riggleman, ex-Republican, staffer on the Capitol Riot Committee, who also later helped Hunter Biden's legal team in their efforts to cast doubt on whether or not that laptop belonged to him. In the end, of course, obviously, it did. Now, this memo doesn't reveal whether or not the Bureau ever took Kinzinger's, why am I having so much trouble with this guy's name? Kinzinger, whether they took him up on his offer. But it does reveal the sheer magnitude of a phone surveillance project the Democrats ran by using congressional subpoenas to gather phone records about Americans' contacts with the Trump White House. This is insane. What's going to happen about it? Diddly squat freaking nothing, I promise you. But there it is. People will suck their tongue and go, oh, that's terrible. We have to make sure this doesn't happen again. And nothing will happen to prevent it. Because that's the way it goes. Nobody cares enough to actually do anything about it. An incredible story out of Portland, Maine, and we are going to cover that in just a bit. First, we're going to tell you about the most amazing coffee on the face of the planet. Rise and grind, America. Kickstart your day with this Blackout coffee. Oh, man. Blackout coffee, they are more than just a brew. They are fueling freedom. Small batch premium beans roasted to perfection right here in the USA. They're all about America. They work with local co-ops and American farmers to grow the best beans on the planet. Delivered bold flavors, hit hard, full-bodied, full-flavored, and absolutely never, ever bitter. From their Morning Reaper blend to decaf. If you need decaf, they got that too. They do pods, they do instant, they do cold brews. Check them out at our website. The link is down there in the show notes. And be sure and use the code J20 when you check out for 20% off your first order. 20% off of everything in the shop. Blackout Coffee, they only roast your beans after you order. They ship them out within 48 hours max, and you'll get the best bag of beans delivered right to your doorstep. Now, if you don't have a grinder and you can't use the beans, no problemo, as they say. They have grinds now. Some of their biggest sellers are now available already ground. They will pack up your beans, grind them up, and deliver them right to your door. So give it a try. No excuses. Not terribly expensive, and you will find this coffee is absolutely amazing. Blackout Coffee, use that link in our show notes. Get over there and check them out. And just pick up a single bag. I promise you will be back for more because it's just that good. Blackout Coffee, thanks, folks, for being part of the show. We are partnered up with them, been there for a long time with us, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Blackout Coffee, John and the gang over there. All right, city councilors in Portland, Maine. What have they done this time? Refused to stand and recite the Pledge of Allegiance. If you can't stand in front of everyone and pledge your allegiance to America, then frankly, you should not be allowed to hold public office. It should be, I mean, it's a no-brainer, obviously, but for some of these idiots, it is. You should not be in office if you can't recite the Pledge of Allegiance. Exactly, if you're not willing to do that, what country are you loyal to? Watch this. Absolutely embarrassing.
I mean the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Look at those three on the left.
For which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk will take the roll. I mean the Pledge of Allegiance.
What the hell was that? What the hell was that? Like I said, if you're not willing to do that, what country are you pledging your allegiance to? You should not be in those seats. You should not be able to hold public office. That is an absolute disgrace. And the people in Maine there, why are you voting for these people? Why are you allowing them to continue? How about this one? There is a U.S. Navy recruiting office in Alhambra, California, which only speaks Mandarin, as in Mandarin Chinese. Now, believe me, I know there are so many dialects in the Chinese language. Mandarin is the overall one that most people know and understand. But every culture in China, and there are thousands of them, have their own dialect. Cantonese, which is huge in Hong Kong, is another great one that is... I actually speak a little bit of Cantonese, and I can understand Siusu, as they say, a little bit. But again, the dialects, it's insane. And some of them are so obscure, even people who are Chinese who speak, the main languages and things, cannot understand some of these dialects. But anyway, this U.S. Navy recruiting office, Alhambra, California, foreign nationals do serve in the U.S. military, no doubt about that. But we have an all-Chinese recruiting center in California, here in the U.S. This is something, in my opinion, we ought to be keeping an eye on. Give a listen.
这是我单位的领导。你好。就简单的 PRT 的一个 brief 仅此而已，不会真正的 PT 的那种。
然后这道签字对吗？
对，签字。签一下那个，稍等，要记录一下你的体重。
这个还是
软件，这是你的手。哎，早上好。
早上好。早上好。
给你吹一下体重。 对的，一个个来。
上血压体重
是126块。你们每一个人都在长重，少的长了3、4磅，多的能长到10磅。
你好。And on it goes for 6 minutes of this video. The whole thing. Everyone in the office either is Chinese or speaks Mandarin Chinese. Virtually no English. This is a United States Navy recruiting office. Fine foreign nationals serve in the U.S. Armed Services. There's no doubt about it. And that's fine. We welcome them. But this to me makes me go, something to keep an eye on. Something to keep an eye on. Okay, what else we got? Oh, I love this guy. What a complete tool bag. What a moron. A man who goes by the name of Joanne Harper, please. And when you take a look at him, you'll realize he ain't fooling anybody. Says he would rather quit sports than play in the men's category. To which I say, great, not a problem. Please do quit. Listen to this absolute tool bag.
So, John's suggestion is to have a women's and an open category.
Yeah.
And the open category will be 99% cisgender male. And so what you are asking is for trans women to compete in a category which is virtually entirely cis men and just call it an open category. Most trans women, myself included, would rather quit their sport than to compete in such a category.
And you know what? That's fine, dude. Go ahead. Quit. Don't need you. Don't want to see you. Bye-bye. I'd rather quit than play in the men's category. So they try to create an open category, and they're still not happy with that. It's just never going to stop. Unbelievable. Proof it's never going to stop? I got a Karen for you, who is probably the queen of all Karens. You know, today with all of our electric vehicles, we have our supercharging stations all set up around the country. Yes, I know, if you have an EV, chances are you think there aren't enough. I'm sure you probably got yourself a charging station at your house. That's fine. But when you have a charging station at your house, it is your charging station. You pay for the use, you pay for the electricity, you put it there for yourself. This is not just a public access charging station. It's my house. You want to see the Karen of all Karens? Take a look at this absolute tool bag.
Can I help you?
Oh, no, thanks for charging my car.
I see that, but this is my house and it's my charger that you're using.
I know, it'll be like 20 minutes.
Yeah, but that's really not, you can't just pull up to someone's driveway and use their charger. You didn't even ask for permission. I mean, maybe if you knocked on my door and asked me, I would have potentially let you, but you just pulled in my driveway. My wife's about to be home any minute now. You're in her spot.
Okay, well, I'm pregnant. My car's about to die. So I had no choice, and I saw that there was an empty charger. Are you recording me right now? Is that why your phone's up like that?
I am recording you because you're on my property, and I'm sorry that your car is about to die, but you know there are superchargers that you're supposed to, Tesla will tell you when your car's about to die. I mean,
Okay, so you have to stop recording me and stop recording my plates. correct. My husband is an attorney, so you're not going to put this video anywhere, so I'm not sure what you're doing with your phone.
How, I mean, do you normally do this? Do you normally pull up to people's houses and use their chargers?
Normally my car isn't dying. I had to go to the doctor. My car was dying on the way home. I'll be done in like 20 minutes. It's really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, lady, actually, it really is that big of a deal because, honestly, you're stealing. This is theft. Theft of services. My husband is an attorney, and you're not videoing me. I'm on my damn property. It's my damned house, and you are illegally hooked up to my charger charging your car. I don't care that you're pregnant. That doesn't account for stupidity. We don't lose brain cells when we're giving birth. I don't care that your husband's a lawyer. You're on my property, and yes, I'm videoing you. I hate that word, by the way, videoing. We need to come up. It's no longer filming because we don't use film. It's not videotaping because there's no videotape involved. Anyway, I'm off the subject. This woman is a complete tool bag, a complete moron. And how entitled does she think she is? And her attitude. And all the while, she's there on her damn phone, distracted from whatever she's on her way to do, doctor's appointment. Maybe while you're there, you could have your brain cleaned. This is absolutely beyond it. It really is. This is ridiculous. An Arkansas dad. Well, this is not exactly feel-good material, but it does contain a fair amount of what we like to call poetic justice. And again, reminds me of one of those Dateline episodes that have twists and turns along the way. You never know where they're going till the end. Well, Aaron Spencer is an Arkansas dad who was charged in the shooting death of his 14-year-old daughter's rapist, October 2024. Guess what he's doing now? Running for sheriff in the same county in which he was arrested. Spencer taken into custody after a desperate search for his missing daughter, whom he found inside a vehicle with 67-year-old Michael Foster. According to the Lone Oak County Sheriff's Office, deputies had been looking for the girl when they learned Spencer had already tracked down the pair. Law enforcement officers said the encounter quickly turned violent, and in the end, Spencer fatally shot Foster, who had just raped his daughter of 14 years old. According to court documents, Spencer was taken into custody at the scene, preliminarily charged with second-degree murder and a firearm enhancement for the shooting death of Foster, who died at the scene. And Spencer's expected to appear in court in December. Meanwhile, he's announced in a Facebook post his intentions to run for sheriff. Here's the post. Hello, Lone Oak. My name is Aaron Spencer. Many of you know my story. I'm the father who acted to protect his daughter when the system failed. I refuse to stand by while others face the same failures. This campaign isn't about me. It's about every parent, every neighbor, every family who deserves to feel safe in their homes and safe in their community. It's about restoring trust, where neighbors know law enforcement is on their side, and families know they will not be left alone in a moment of need. He's out on bond as his case proceeds, but the same old story on the dead guy, the deservedly dead guy. Foster, a registered sex offender, multiple charges related to sex crimes against a minor earlier in 2024, charged with numerous sexual offenses against Spencer's daughter, out on bond at the time of the incident, been served with a court order prohibiting contact with the girl. This wasn't the first time. Charges included sexual assault, sexual indecency with a minor, internet stalking of a child, possession of child pornography, totaling over 40 felony counts. And how many times have we heard this story? I've brought them to you here on this show time and time again. The current sheriff, John Staley, said a decision to file formal charges against Aaron Spencer is eventually going to be made by the Lonoke County Prosecuting Office, according to Law and Crime, their website. So this guy is now up for sheriff. We'll follow it. We'll see what happens. It's a damned interesting story. Got an interesting one going on here. Justice Alito, who has wagged his finger and scolded the lower courts. Why? Because they keep dodging cases on schools transiting kids. That's bad enough. Here's the add-on, which makes it worse. Without their parents' permission. Sam Alito, U.S. Supreme Court Justice, had some rather choice words for the lower courts Tuesday after their apparent eagerness to avoid ruling on cases involving schools transitioning children without their parents' knowledge or even consent. Comments came in an order released by the High Court on Tuesday that listed which pending lower court cases it will and will not be taking up in their next term. According to the cases rejected by the justices, Lee versus Poudre School District, which centers around a lawsuit brought by two sets of parents against the Colorado-based school district. Families challenged policies which were implemented by the school district, in which they say they urge district employees not to, I'm quoting here, not to disclose information about a student's so-called gender identity to their parents. Schools. What the F's business is it of a schools? Except to educate, to teach, and the parents have the final say. 100%, hands down, no doubt. Listen to this. In one instance, the Lee family's daughter was urged to attend a meeting of the Gender and Sexualities Alliance at her middle school, during which a substitute teacher in the school district spoke about gender identity, sexual orientation, and warned students it could not be safe to tell their parents about what they were talking about. Second child, student, reportedly had a similar experience at another after-school GSA meeting. This is insane. The student also told her parents she felt very unsafe about being in the same building as a teacher who was encouraging her to attend these GSA meetings. Both sets of parents filed a law suit against the school district, alleged that officials unlawfully interfered with their decision-making roles as parents. No kidding. But because the lower courts rejected the case. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to get involved. The plaintiffs petitioned the Supreme Court to take up the case, saying America's long history of protecting parents' legal authority in raising their children has been deliberately dismantled by these insane school districts across the country who've enacted policies to actually replace parental authority with government authority. Now, the Supreme Court declined to take up the case yesterday, but All of this prompted Justice Alito to author a concurring opinion on the matter. Although the Bush appointee noted he concurred in the denial of certiorari because petitions do not challenge the grounds for the rules below. I know, it's complicated legal speak. He took the time to express what he was worried about that appears to be a complete lack of balls, although he used other words, involving schools transitioning children without parental consent or knowledge. Quote, I remain concerned that some federal courts are tempted to avoid confronting a particular contentious constitutional question. Whether a school district violates parents' fundamental rights when, without parental knowledge or consent, it encourages a student to transition to a new gender or to assist in that process. Petitioners tell us that nearly 6,000 public schools have policies as the respondent does. Purposefully interfering with parents' access to critical, life-changing information about their children's gender identity choices and the school's personnel involvement in and influence on these choices. He added, the troubling and tragic allegations in this case underscore the great and growing national importance of the question that their parent petitioners present. Something's got to give. And the lower courts need to grow a pair, make the hard decisions. In this case, it's not a hard decision. You're denying the parents their rights. Plain as day, black and white, in your face. Unbelievable. While we're on the subject, let's just keep going, shall we? A new study shows trans identification among youth, this is good news, is in free fall. Yep. For years, those who objected to this whole trans ideology BS, radical trans activism, they've been warning, and so have we, that's the sudden explosion of it's so cool to identify as trans is just a social contagion. Being trans was the latest political, social fad. A lot of it pushed on kids by celebrities, politicians, as you just heard, educators. And a lot of them were not actually suffering from gender dysphoria. The left insisted, we're all just being bigots. That's it. You're doing harm to the youth by denying their trans identities. True selves, they told us. A lot of concerned parents that trans kids would commit suicide if they didn't get them dangerous puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, gender-affirming surgery, which is basically child mutilation. Left kids dysfunctional sexually, sterile, and, as I said, completely mutilated for the rest of their lives. Well, guess what, folks? It turns out we were right all along. New data shows trans ID among young people is in absolute freefall. Take a look at this chart. Share of students not identifying as male or female from 2016 to 2025, which peaked out right there just before 2023, and how about that? Meanwhile, gay and lesbian identities has pretty much remained the same. It's had no effect whatsoever. Heterosexuality on the increase. Again, these charts are a little complicated, but if you see there, proportion of non-heterosexuals. Again, you can pause this and take a look at the graph itself. But among the incoming freshmen, the rate of trans and queer students less than the senior class. So you got your fourth year of high school seniors and your first year of high school freshmen, and the amount of trans and queer students so identified by themselves is considerably less. Not only that, it was reversed when BTQ plus identity, again, the LGB, but then when you take the LG off, lesbian and gay, and just start with the B, because they've made it so damn complicated, nobody knows what the hell anybody's talking about, suggesting that gender and non-sexual conforming, oh, that's me, I'm just non-sexual conforming. That too, in the shitter. It's very likely this nonconformity is going to continue to fall. The big question is, why? Why this sudden reversal? This is not from a shift to religion, conservatism. There is an improvement in some studies in our mental health. Yeah, in part, if you're less anxious, especially depressed students, is linked with a very small share identifying as trans, queer, or bisexual. And a big factor in all of this, the pandemic. Not entirely, but mental illness fell after the pandemic, but the sexuality and the gender shifts happened about at least a year later. All groups, including LGBT, got less mentally ill after the pandemic was completed. Now, that makes sense. People stuck at home, can't see your loved ones in person, resorting to being perpetually online in the name of safety. And just another bit of coincidence that the COVID lockdown did far more harm than good. This whole decline in anxiety, depression, occurred within the trans, bi, and queer groups as much as others. So it wasn't the case that most of those who solved their emotional problems became homosexual. There was very little change in the graphs as far as claiming their sexual identities as straight, gay, bisexual. Basically letting people work and socialize like normal people do helped improve mental health greatly. The numbers are insane. The graphs are off the charts. Imagine that. The fall of the trans queer seems most similar to the fading of a fashion trend. Happened largely independent of shifts in political beliefs, social media use. Improved mental health played a huge role in this whole story. It was a social contagion, and all for the better. Oh, yeah. Marilyn, are you and Danny in some kind of a competition for who can be the biggest supporter? Go for it. I love it. It says, for those watching, if you have a Rumble account, please give a thumbs up, which will help Jay. Thanks if you would. Welcome all. Well, indeed, she's right. It really does help. It's the same thing like on YouTube. We've got our YouTube channel back up and running, but it's not live. We repost the show over there on YouTube, sometimes immediately after we're done with our broadcast and sometimes the next day. But they're all there, starting from about, a couple, 3 weeks ago, maybe more. Anyway, when you hit that thumbs up button, in addition to subscribing, which is also free, it tells this algorithm, which decides how much to push our show to people who don't subscribe. Maybe they've never watched the show before, but it lets that computer system know that people are liking the show. They're subscribing to the show. I mean, maybe you know this, and I'm sorry if this simplistic explanation is above and beyond, but it does help in case you don't know. So it will push our show out to people, and under the suggested videos, you'll see this show pop up. And it really does help. So thank you for that. Appreciate that. Thank you, Marilyn, and we love you all right back. All right. So finally, and I'm going to have to hang on for a little bit because I really, really, really do want the answers to this. I have a theory. I don't know. Yes, I asked Grok. Grok did not give me a satisfactory answer. It's a riddle. And I've looked it up. I've searched for the correct answer. And most people say one answer is correct. I, however, argue with that. And it has to do with the English language. First of all, this says 85% will fail. I say 99.99% failed. Take a look. I'll tell you what it says. And here is the riddle. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that is 25 years old. How old is Tommy now?
Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that is 25 years old. How old is Tommy now? 85% of people fell at this.
50.
50?
Yeah.
Why do you think it's 50?
Well, maybe he had the kid at 25, and if we add 25 years onto that, because the kid is now 25.
No, it's not. Guess again. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that is 25 years old. How old is Tommy now? I'm telling you, this riddle's really hard.
But you're not telling me exactly, like, when...
Okay, enough of the theme. No, seriously. It's a great question, and it has been bugging me all day, all night. You think about it, the way it's phrased. Tommy got married when... You put your answer in the chat. What do you think it is? And then I'll explain what I think it is and why. And nobody, in any of the search I did for answers, nobody said what I'm going to tell you. And I think I'm right. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that is 25 years old. How old is Tommy? And most people continue, even Grok, the AI, said he's 50. I say, nuh-uh, he's not 50. I say he could be 25. Or he could be 50. Both answers could be right based on how you read the question. Now, here's what I'm thinking. Listen. Listen to this way of me reading the question. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that's 25 years old. How old is Tommy? Okay? Now, when you read it that way, it makes the time between the time he was married at 25 and present day, with the use of the word and the inflection that you put on now. When I say married when he was 25, Now he has a kid that's 25 years old. Okay? That means, the way I just said it, time has passed. But now, listen to this when I read it this way. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now, he has a kid that's 25 years old. How old is Tommy? Meaning the now reflects back to the first part. It's not present time. It's the act of getting married is defined by the now. I'm not changing the words. Tommy got married when he was 25. Now he has a kid that's 25 years old, meaning his wife already had a child who was 25. So Tommy would be 25. So, dependent upon that one word and the way you interpret it, whether it means then or now, and it could mean either, he would be either 50 or 25. I say 25. Born, not bun. I don't know. You'd have to know how old he was when the kid was born. Ah, you see? That might make a big difference. I say neither is right because you don't know how old Tommy was when the kid was born. I'm telling you, it all has to do with how your brain interprets the word now. Is now referring to the moment Tommy got married, so now he has a 25-year-old son? Or he got married, and as of today, now, he has a 25-year-old son? All based around that now. I know I'm an absolute freak. Who gives a crap? But talk about it amongst yourselves. Come up with an answer. My best one is he might be 25. He might be 50. And who cares? Thank you for watching. Okay, we're done. Thanks a lot. We got to get out of here. I will see you all tomorrow, same time for the Thursday edition of the Jay Sheldon Show. Again, as Marilyn and Danny say, you got to do it. Hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that thumbs up button. We really love you guys a lot. Thanks for popping by. I'll see you again tomorrow.